And I think if it really comes to that, they are saying, we're going authoritarian. Hungary, here we come. And at that point, we're talking about popular opposition and maybe state powers to try to counteract.
Here's a question from a retired judge in Los Angeles. He says, I'm terrified by the unwillingness of the executive and apparently the legislative branch in respecting the orders of the judiciary. Your thoughts about, and we knew we were coming to this, the ongoing conflict, the forthcoming conflict, the tripwire that's going to be when the judiciary asserts its authority and the Trump administration says, no, we don't need to do that. That's the nuclear option.
Great question. $64,000 question. And the reason that I think it'd be really good if Boasberg could get to this point now, in this case, with this judge and that kind of setting. They're going to do one of two things, it seems to me. They might, at a minimum, they already are kind of obfuscating, bobbing and weaving, saying the dog ate it and the like, but not exactly ever calling out that, like, although Tom Homan and others are saying it, that, like, you know, screw you, judiciary. If that happens, it'll be a matter of management and what things look like on the other side. I agree with you. There's a palpable chance that they actually get, say, well, you've made your order, now you can go enforce it. And I mean, these are war games exercises. What happens to the Marshal Service that serves the judges, but actually works for the executive, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm here to tell you, I think at that point, and I've thought about it seriously, I don't think I'm being alarmist. We're talking the remaining guardrails are state power and state AGs and the people and popular opposition. Some people think we're not at the real crisis. It's the $32,000 question if they violate district court orders and 64,000 if they violate the Supreme Court. I don't know. Absolute knowing violations of a district court order strikes me that we are at the crisis point. But literally, as you think about it, he has so sewn up things. You've got a totally pliant, as you say, Your Honor, from LA, uh, Congress, the Army. Remember, Mark Milley would have been there in 2020, so gotten rid of done so much to get rid of his enemies, put in a toady at U.S. Marshal Service. And I think if it really comes to that, they are saying, we're going authoritarian. Hungary, here we come. And at that point, we're talking about popular opposition and maybe state powers to try to counteract.
So it is the plan, as it seems, for the Trump administration to try to bowl over the district and appeals courts and go right to the Supreme Court, thinking the Supreme Court is going to give it everything it wants, which is by no means certain.
It's by no means certain, but it's a more congenial place, right? Look at the immunity opinion, and they got to win there anyway. So they know their chances are better. They're getting clobbered in the district courts, right? There've been over 100 cases filed and 80 some injunctions, and the percentages of ruling against them almost as high by Republican appointed judges as Democrat appointed judges. All their money has to be in the Supreme Court. And let me tell you, I'm really scared of the Supreme Court because this abstract point, we were talking about it again and again. Can he just claim national security and everybody has to shut up?
Hmm.
I think there are two or three, maybe four votes in the Supreme Court for something like that. The more sort of abstract, well, you just can't second guess the executive, which I think would be a doctrinal disaster and a practical disaster would give him such a license to infringe on all of our liberties.